Today, we are literally going underneath the map. We also discover a secret black and white mode. What's up, guys? We're back with Myth Busting Mondays, episode 4, the series where I take myths from you guys in the comments below and try to bring them to life in-game. Be sure to comment your myths below to be featured in next week's episode. Before I start, I just wanted to thank y'all so much. By the time this is uploaded, my channel probably will have broken 4,000 subscribers. I am eternally grateful and intend to keep delivering great content for you guys. Now let's dive right in. Starting off today's episode, we have B's ? Myth. Turrets attached to objects like chairs and tables can shoot through floors if they're shoved through them. This was actually super easy to test because the turrets attached to most canisters and chairs, when dropped, just fall straight down through the floor and balance perfectly, and in certain buildings the turrets shoot right through the floors. Some of them you have to break a thin layer of the ceiling first, but others it just works immediately. This one is confirmed. Up next, we got Tomato Butt Smith. Putting the cash out on a goo platform off the side of the map, then destroying the platform will cause the cash out to repeatedly attempt to bounce back to where it last was on the goo platform and continue falling. Others had similar myths and asked what if we blocked the cash out from hovering back onto the map. Now, last episode I did have this happen a lot, but didn't have time to show you guys in the video. If you let the cash out station fall off the map from a goo platform already off the map, it just teleports either back up top to its original location or a completely new location nearby for safe harbor. I also tried blocking its only entrance into the building, and again, the cash out station just teleports to its selected location. This one is busted. You cannot keep the cash out station or cash box in an infinite loop of falling and hovering back up. Up next, we've got our first nuclear myth of the episode from Forge of LA asking, can you goo a wrecking ball to a building? If so, what happens if you detach the building from the ground and put stuff on the ball to glitch it out? So the first thing I realized is that the wrecking ball is incredibly buggy. Even if we didn't put anything on the ball, getting it to just hover inside a building or slash through anything without it detaching was a challenge on its own. On our first attempt of this, the wrecking ball detached immediately, and we learned some insane properties of the wrecking ball that are absolutely game-changing and mind-blowing. The first thing we learned was that you can use goo to push the wrecking ball around. There's more we discovered with that alone, but in our first attempt here, we learned the wrecking ball will destroy parts of buildings, the map, and terrain that normal explosives won't. For instance, here the wrecking ball takes out the entire foundation of this house that no amount of damage would ever do. This not only looked hilarious, but created an opening for Neo here to just crawl right under the map. We even figured out you can jump pad from under the map and fly back above the map, and this was just too funny.
Can you, yeah, on top it's not. What? Okay.
In another clip, we recreated this easily, and I tried going under the map as a heavy, but got stuck in the ground. We then went on to destroy building after building, lifting entire foundations up and creating new areas you'd never be able to enter elsewise. We even learned you can jump pad the wrecking ball across the map, but unfortunately, we didn't have the accuracy to direct hit a building, but you guys can imagine the damage it would have done. But back to our original myth, I know we strayed pretty far here. We tried over a dozen times, and it was nearly impossible to just get the wrecking ball into a building and add goo before it completely bugged out and just snapped the line or flew off the map. Even though what we found was insanely cool and totally worthwhile, I'm calling this one busted. You cannot goo the wrecking ball to a building and then bug it out to create some sort of unique interaction. Even if you manage to pull all of this off, I'm almost certain the wrecking ball would just fly right off the map with no regard to anything around it. Up next, we got Lil Fish asking, what if you try the goo the cash out off the map theory, but instead of goo, because it has a time limit, you use the regular turret and APS since they don't have a time limit, and the player can stand on them and the map can interact with them. Now, this one proved quite difficult because unless you got the perfect angle, the cash out station would bounce right off the turrets because how small they were. It was difficult enough that we actually got our cash out station to turn invisible during active play and teleport all over the place before we could pull it off. After our failures, we tried running 2 mediums with turrets and APS and 1 heavy with Goo Gun to see if that would make this easier. We also tried to keep the station right near the ledge, so if we failed, it would hover right back to where we could try again. After enough attempts, we were able to get the cash out station to balance off the map on top of the APS and turrets. This definitely looked funny because the turrets rotating caused the cash out station to wobble around, but nonetheless, this myth is confirmed. You can hold the cash out station off the map with turrets and APS. On to our next myth, we got the street hero saying, you can backstab someone through goo using Light's dagger. This was a pretty easy one to test. The goo blocked all of my attempts at meleeing anyone in it or behind it. The only instances my melee would connect is if I had significant line of sight to the enemy already. Only then would my lunge connect, but we're calling this one busted. You cannot backstab someone through the goo. Rex Taiga comments, can you use the defibs to break a wall? I thought this would be difficult because you'd have to wait in between each defib use, but thankfully using the defibrillator against a wall does not count as a hit or begin your cooldown period. I gave my best effort, but I could not break the wall with the defib. I even got the wall to its last bit of health and still no luck whatsoever. This one is busted. You cannot use the defib to damage or break a wall. Alright guys, we got another nuclear myth for today's episode from Stealth asking, what happens when you grapple to the wrecking ball while it has turrets attached and then bugs out? I think this one was probably the hardest one to pull off in the entirety of the series so far, only because the wrecking ball is so buggy and inconsistent that a lot of times our timing was close, but not close enough for my grapple to be on the wrecking ball right as it goes berserk and flies off the map. We even had this one instance where the wrecking ball got stuck shaking at the back end of the crane, but with enough practice, we managed to pull this off a few times, and I'm just gonna roll the live clips for you guys.
Right. Are you able to get... 3, 2, 1, go! Yeah!
Oh my god.
3, 2, 1.
Oh shit. Oh
I got it!
shit.
I got it! Where am I going? Yo, I actually had it! I had it, and it just hits the skybox. This one was super fun to test in game. I'm still surprised you could grapple onto it at all. As you guys could see in the clips, the wrecking ball definitely moves too fast for your grapple to stay attached the entire time, but I'm pretty sure in a couple of those clips, we either hit the max height or the grapple line just broke anyway. Regardless, this myth is confirmed. You can grapple onto the wrecking ball as it's glitching out. Our next myth brought by Monkey Man. Can you use a long section of goo as a fuse that blows up mines or C4s when lit on fire? This one sounded way too fun not to try, and I gotta be honest, the result is not what I was expecting. Even with the goo on fire on top of or below mines, it will not set them off. This is particularly weird because the flamethrower almost immediately sets off mines upon firing, but this one is busted. You cannot use a long section of goo as a fuse that blows up mines or C4s when ignited. We got another myth about mines and C4s from R. Bobbert. Could you level an entire house using a chain reaction from mines, barrels, and C4s? We booby-trapped the house and hid the cash box inside. Now, although we couldn't get someone to actually walk into the house and trigger a landmine, I'd say this was successful and we were able to level an entire building here and create some really fun chaos. Although it required seemingly all the canisters on the map, this is 100% confirmed. You can chain react explosives to level an entire building off just one initial detonation. On to our last, but certainly not least myth, we have the street hero returning to ask, what happens if you get a jump pad to fall onto another jump pad? Upon first testing this, it was a pretty simple answer, and that was the jump pad that falls will bounce off the jump pad already on the ground.
But wait! There's more!
But pretty quickly, we noticed an interesting reaction here where you could cause them to repeatedly bounce off of each other. So we found a corner and created this insanely funny interaction.
I'm trying to move out, I can't get out.
Wait, I went through the wall!
Now, during this, we managed to send Neo through the wall, and this got me thinking about last episode, and if we could maybe recreate this with a cash out station and send it through a wall. So we tried to replicate this with the cash out, and at first we had some pretty funny interactions occur, but we could not get the cash out station through the wall, unfortunately.
But I'm not done yet.
None of that holds a candle to what happens next.
Okay, good angles.
Yeah.
Whoa! It's gone so dark.
Oh, they're here, they're here, they're here. They're here.
Oh, go! Dude, did you see how far through that?
We somehow glitched the game to make this entire room, our characters, and everything change lighting and texture. This was definitely the first time I've seen something like this in game. If we left the room, our character models immediately had color again, but as soon as we walked back into the room, they went right back to colorless. We tried continuing our experiment to get the cash out station through the wall with no luck. We sent fusion through the wall and had the cash out break the wall, but could not get the cash out through the wall. I cannot believe our myth that started out as getting jump pads bouncing off of each other somehow snowballed all the way into this. I am so glad we pursued this further. If anyone in the comments thinks you can replicate or recreate this, be sure to let us all know below or show us on Discord. This was just too insane and hilarious. I am so glad I captured it all happening. I know our original myth wasn't worded like a myth, but we're still going to call it confirmed. You can get a jump pad to bounce off of another jump pad by getting them to fall onto each other. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate the support I've been getting on the series. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys next Monday.